Who is making them? And why? I want to know down below what you think. Just total suspension of disbelief. Ideal world, what do you think's happening? And in fake alien world where everything is real or all conspiracies are real, what do you think exactly is happening? Are they coming from the planet Goozor, nestled within Zeta Reticuli? They come to Earth, they go they breakdance or whatever the fuck, or do you think it's UFOs shooting down spot beams from their ships, blasting or whatever the fuck? I don't know what I believe. That's been a brief history of crop circles. How about who's making these some bitches? Who's out there? The people stomping in the wee hours of the night who don't have foot and mouth disease? Is it aliens? If you haven't noticed by now, there's a pretty strong association with crop circles and aliens. It's been this way for decades. That's the biggest supernatural suggestion as to what's creating these things. What's creating the crop circles? It's aliens that have been coming in at night, creating shapes that seem like maybe secret messages or graffiti left in random farmers' fields. For years, people have theorized what these symbols mean, how they're created, and all signs have pointed towards them being of extraterrestrial origin. So what do they mean? Why are they here? These symbols have been a marvel for alien experts for years, all trying to understand the importance. Yo, welcome back, Tri-Boy. The strange symbols that have been left behind. I'm awake because I can't sleep. My sleeping schedule is so crazy. That they're here without scaring us. They just leave giant things. That's scary to me, though. That's scary to me. The crop circles, that's scary. Why are you? Is that Oompaville? Yes, it is Oompaville. Oh my goodness, good guess. Oh, my nose itches. Hang on. What game is this? This is Mega Man Battle Network 4. I was just kind of up and I couldn't sleep, so I figured I might as well play some Mega Man. Guess I can hear them. Is it loud enough, or should I turn it down or up? Yeah, sure. Turn it down or up. Yeah. Some theorists believe that we're not exactly supposed to understand the symbols, but we are meant to see them and use them as a way to acclimate. Up? Okay. Imagine a little gray man showing up on your porch versus a random circle appearing in Hertford, Bedfordshire, England. I don't know, whatever the fuck. One is really scary, a little gray guy, and then another one's a circle. They have nothing to do with me. And it's just like, oh, that's crazy. I think I would actually, at this point, just prefer the little green, yellow, gray men. I would rather prefer a little gray man to come and just knock on my door. Hello, sir. Bam! Hammer. I've seen each before. I'm not falling for that shit. Lay down. Come on. Come on. Get down. Get down. For any ETs watching this, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't actually kill you with a hammer. I've been watching some Oompaville stuff because I like conspiracy theory type shit lately. Over the years, different shapes and symbols have emerged. Can you hear it, or do you want me to turn it? You want me to move it closer? And intelligent structure. There's these little notches in the spiral that let you know you're at the end of an arc. So you actually have to measure the arc lengths as you go around. Which video is it? It's the one about crop circles. And there's a little circle to give you the decimal point. So it's a really interesting example of using geometry as a code for representing digits and numbers. There's been so many forms of media that have talked about crop circles and multiple recordings of their creation. This controversial film appears to show strange objects hovering above a cornfield. Low, complex circle formations appear. That video, by the way, is so hokey with the added screams. It is hilarious and lame. It is hilarious how lame it actually is. Anyways, these orbs created those cryptic symbols, meaning pretty much nothing to us. These things mean nothing at all, okay? In August 2001, a message was carved into a field in the United Kingdom near the Chilbolton Radio Telescope in Hampshire. In a 120-foot by 70-foot wide box, a message appeared. This message is known as the Arecibo reply and matches a message that we sent long ago called the Arecibo message.
The Arecibo message was ultimately a symbolic gesture. It was designed to show that we could do it and to show off the incredible power of the Arecibo telescope.
You've probably seen this thing before. There's plenty of videos specifically about the Arecibo message, and it was sent in November 1974 by the Arecibo telescope, which transmitted a binary message into space at the Messier 13 globular cluster.
It wasn't considered then and is not considered now a particularly good contender for life, and even if it was, it's going to take 25,000 years for the signal to get there.
Now, I'm going to pretend like I know what that means, but globular and cluster, I don't know if I should be hungry or horny, okay? You've probably seen this bizarre transmission structure before, whether
Hey,
you're
we
playing Battlefield 4.
got some Zenny.
Or Just Cause 2. Odd. Very scary. Here is a simple and much better visual explanation someone else made. It's awesome to look at. Look at this. I will just hold it on the screen. You can pause it if you want. So you can look at this, or you can listen to me yap at that. I'm going to explain it. The message that we sent includes, from top to bottom, the binary for our numerical digits, that is 1 to 10. So this is 1 and this is 10. Then comes this little purple chunk, which is the atomic numbers for the most common elements found in the human body. That is hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus. And this all composes DNA, aka deoxyribonucleic acid, or whatever the fuck it's called. The actual name for DNA, I can't remember. The green symbols indicate nucleotides. The blue lines are the double helix, which you can probably recognize, and that is the structure that makes up our DNA. It's a very human message in so many ways. The message then goes into aspects of humanity, such as our average height and weight. The white symbol on the right showing our population, which at the time, in 1974, was 4.3 million, and it's now substantially more than that. It's at least 5 or something. I don't know. 7.8. Then we get to planets, including Pluto. May God rest his soul. The third planet in the sequence is higher up, which indicates that this is the planet which we dwell. And last but not least,
I finally got a water bottle to spray my cat with, so he'll calm down.
Pretty cool stuff. So we said this, and something strange appeared on the field we talked about years and years and years and years later. The message looks super similar to ours, almost an exact copy in every way. But the main differences are the chemical. The purple part focuses more on silicon, and the DNA strand is different. The figure is also a alien with a bulbous head, and then it shows their alien planets. They apparently have 9 planets as well, but instead occupy 3 planets in their solar system: the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. Then, telescope at the bottom is insane. It's weird. It is a shape that we've seen before, another crop circle, which appeared before. The plot thickens, my friends.
That would
now,
be
if you ask me, I'm going to see this. I'm not going to ask for any sort of scientific explanation or definition. I'm just going to start believing that aliens are real, worshiping them.
Dick's epic 4th of July sale is on. Take 20% off bog bags and igloo coolers, 25% off Stanley drinkware, $200 off Callaway irons and TaylorMade drivers. Buy any DST item and get the second half price. Shop in store or at Dicks.com.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Believing that aliens are real, worshiping them, etc. But luckily, smarter people than I ran with this story, and I was too young to sort of take it, start making videos about it. So that's kind of weird, and a year later, we got an eerie response from the supposed extraterrestrials. It was a symbol in binary next to what looks like a little gray man's self-portrait. This was taken in a field in Winchester, Hampshire, which is in England.
There was a crop formation that unmistakably looks like an extraterrestrial, the proverbial gray.
Did you know light years are called that because it measures the distance the light travels in a year? Also, light is faster, the fastest thing we know about until we get FTL, faster than light. Yes, I did know that.
It is secret code binary. In this, we just talked about the Arecibo message. This is
What
the
would
same
be
way we
faster
tried
than
to
light
contact
even,
them
you
the
know,
first
like a
time. So our
thought?
people took the binary and translated it into
Kilala.
ASCII, which is like the sort of middle ground between
An
electronic
emotion.
equipment and ones and zeros. After it was translated, it said something very, very odd. It said
Kilala.
this. Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. We oppose deception. Conduit cleansing. Apparently, it's a very impactful message to my dog, Frankenheimer. So what's that mean, guys? I have no idea. Are these aliens warning us of horrors that aren't them? Is the dark force theory true? Maybe they come in peace and the aliens do not, other ones do not? I have no f***ing idea. I guess we'll never know until we see lizard men hunting monkey men for sport. We're the monkey men. There's a lot of really awesome videos about this, dude. There's a crazy video of this guy measuring in a circle. Crazy alien guy from Ancient Aliens talking about it. This is
I'm trying to
exciting stuff.
gather
I love
enough
this.
points to do this tournament.
59 minus 33 equals 26, which is interestingly relates to the number of words that are in the disc itself. Also, 26 is the number of letters in our English alphabet. But if you multiply these two numbers together, I wonder if anybody can see
We
what I'm
have
going with
multiple
this.
theories about it. Lots of sci-fi shows
I've
of
gotta
different
say,
types.
This seems a little dumb.
I think
because
about
aliens are obviously
instant
able to
transmission
communicate
from like
English
Dragon Ball Z, but like
through
making it into a
binary,
technology
right?
and how can we
They-
achieve
they- they
instant
made it perfect
transmission from
English-
one place to
English
another or
message
teleporting?
with binary. They
How
know
can we
English.
achieve
Not only
teleportation?
do they know binary, they also know how to translate binary into English. So if they can communicate in English, why do they use binary? It means it's odd. It just seems a little strange to resort to.
Or like
creating
portals, if you
mathematical
found a
crop
portal
circles
from
that
one place to
seemingly mean
another
nothing
that
at all. I mean,
that
I
transports
guess
you
sure, you could create
instantaneously, that would be
interesting
faster than
shapes that
light.
need specific mathematical knowledge to decipher and create.
Kilala.
Why? You already understand English. Why not just spread the message? Why make the cool self-portrait and then a disc of
Kilala, you need
binary
to stop.
that is in English? Why not just write it in English? You know? So yeah, what are these things? What's the purpose, my friends? Gets a little less interesting when we learn about footpaths. You know what footpaths are? That is man-made
Kilala.
footpaths. So yeah, we're now into the man-made theories. The story of
Ayo.
Doug and Dave. So as time goes on, people begin to believe less and less that aliens or otherworldly beings are responsible for crop circles, and instead, they believe that they are man-made. Especially after what occurred in 1991 in England. I don't know what the up with England and crop circles, but this guy Doug Bauer and this other guy Dave Chorley were two men living in southern England who got a great idea one night in 1976 after having too many fields. Bauer told a story of a crop circle found in Australia and thought it would be hilarious if he and Chorley went out into a nearby field with a plank of wood and some rope and began to create their own crop circles. Now, I don't know how they would
This is
ever
so
do
scary.
what
Why
they
did I come here alone?
How did they do it? How did they make them look so good? I don't understand.
Cool.
These guys must have been artists. These two old boys
He
didn't
does it for the
realize
thrill.
that their
Oh, okay.
work on that fateful night would lead to a 15-year-long prank that would grab the attention of the entire world and media alike. Following that night, Dave and Doug would go out into the fields and construct massive and beautiful shapes into wheat and barley. And over the course of 15 years, research teams formed and people began to believe that aliens were coming down to England to create elaborate designs in their crop fields. However, in the 1990s, impersonators started to pop up. So people who were like, we'll pull a Doug and Dave, but they didn't know it was Doug and Dave yet. By the way, there was a tourist industry surrounding crop circles at this time as well. Hundreds of people would come every single year to get a glimpse of the infamous English crop circles. It became big business. And eventually in 1991, Doug and Dave put a fork in it, all right? And they opened up about their antics and revealed to the world that they had been tricking everyone by producing the crop circles themselves.
Ordered to make the UFO Society think that a UFO landed. And after a few years, they didn't know whether to believe it or not.
This news devastated millions of people who thought they were witnessing supernatural, otherworldly phenomena in real time. Got so many people so excited, people like me, who hadn't been born yet, but also were stupid and really excited.
Hey,
by
that's
this
a good
kind of
chip.
thing. This also caused a lot of the tourism, as you can imagine, just go out of business because it's not real. In an interview with Doug, one of the reporters commented on how thousands of lives were ruined. These guys were real pranksters. Dicks. Oh
La
my
la,
God.
don't be
In
rude.
spite of both pranksters coming out saying that it was fake, there were still people who fully believed that the crop circles were real, and they believed that the media was trying to cover something up with the government. These people were being paid off. They're paid crisis actors or false flags, whatever people want to call them. I'm not sure.
It's an obvious, I mean, absolutely obvious. This year in the sea,
Navi,
it's not consistent
go.
at all with the genuine phenomenon.
I don't like that. Go. Come on, Fanny. Fanny Manny.
It's not consistent at all with the genuine phenomenon. I just don't believe it, no.
It seemed to be perhaps the
Come on.
greatest prank ever played as it
Peggy
tricked
Manny.
millions of people into believing dumb, stupid shit. And crop circles were
Hold on.
alien-made and they're real. Because of this prank, two British men created the UK arts collective Circle
Gee.
Makers, which was a group of artists dedicated to making crop circle art. And from there it was formed. Competitions were held. Beautiful pieces of art resulted from it. And crop circles became sort of popular again, and kind of in a cool way, not in a, hey guys, let's lie to everybody for 15 years and create and then destroy an entire tourism market. No, instead it's just cool art, and it's beautiful, and it's very, very, very just impressive. Crop circle art became so popular that a crop circle of the Olympic rings was actually shown in the opening sequence to the 2012 Olympics, where my brother in Christ, Michael Phelps, won the gold. Yeah! There's been a few cases of people being legally prosecuted for creating crop circles, which makes sense because it's like a fairly destructive, hysterical thing. What started out as an unexplainable occurrence became a legal issue for people and pranksters. And it's interesting because it shows the continued evolution of a human perception of crop circles. Religion, science, aliens,
Nice.
pranks. Huh? Humans, there's also a theory that humans are not the only ones to create crop circles. It's also believed that some animals might be
The
able
three
to
biggest ones
create
we
crop
have
circles, and certain creatures
are
to
warp
blame for
catapults
random things
and
appearing
portals,
in fields.
teleporter.
However, some
My
believe that
favorite
there
is
also
warp. Do you want me to
more
explain each one?
paranormal
Please do,
phenomena to
yes.
explain the
Explaining
crop
chat
circles.
each of them, please.
Ghosts.
Try, boy.
Ghosts. There are people who believe that it's ghosts. Put in your proton packs, people. We're going to be talking about ghosts, all right? This may sound crazy, but at this point, you can believe aliens. Why not just go ahead and believe ghosts as well? Some other paranormal phenomena. Our theory starts once again in England, specifically in the southern half of the island. In South England, there is an area called the Warminster Triangle. This area is similar to the Bermuda Triangle in that it is known to have some strange phenomena, including within it. All right, guys, occurring within the triangle. This area is mostly known for crop circle sightings. There's still a long list of paranormal entities such as hellhounds and ley lines, which we'll dive into later on. Also ghosts in the area. Let's take a look statistically at the amount of crop circles found in southern England when compared to northern. It's disproportionate. And the area of the Warminster Triangle is the area in which the most crop circles are located. Furthermore, within the Warminster Triangle is another area of phenomenon called the Avebury Cluster. This is where the densest groups of crop circles can be found in all of England. And strangely enough, within the small town of Avebury, and then within this small town of Avebury is a strange circle formation known as the Avebury Circle. Similar to Stonehenge, the Avebury Circle involves a circle of standing stones. Except what makes the Avebury Circle different is whoever constructed the monument actually carved a moat around, emphasizing the size and shape. It's very circular. There are known paranormal hotspots and ghostly occurrences within Avebury and the surrounding area, including within the Avebury Circle.
Oh,
During the
snap.
18th and 19th centuries, some of the stones were broken down to be used in the construction of new buildings in Avebury, and while a cobbler was working on one of the stones, he walked away for a moment and it crashed down on the spot where he was working, and he blamed this on ghosts. In another instance, a priest was taking shelter next to one of the stones while a crazy storm was raging above. When the storm let up, and while he was making his way back home, a bolt of lightning struck the stone he was next to, causing it to explode. Specters can also be seen walking amongst the stones, and weird singing can be heard from the circle at night, which only adds to the mystery and also seems nonsensical. Those are weak stories, let's be real. Furthermore, in and around Avebury, there have been mysterious glowing balls that have been called UFOs, and specters, ghosts have been spotted in and around the area. It's a big hotspot, okay? These sightings and stories have led many people to believe that ghosts and paranormal activity are responsible for the abnormal number of crop circles that appear in the area. This would also explain why crop circles are more prominent in the southwest of England, as that's where Avebury is located, guys. It's, Avebury's the main character in this story. A lot of ghosts live there, and aliens too, as well. I mean, look at this. That's not a British person. That's an alien. Now, if you want further proof that the Avebury Circle and the Warminster Triangle are to blame for the crop circles, let me introduce you to the ley line theory. This theory points out that many of the crop circles found in southern England are in lines with ancient sites like Stonehenge and the Avebury Circle. These sites were built over top of these underground energy lines, and the sites were used to connect the ley lines, and this would increase ancient people's fertility and health. These energy lines are also believed to sometimes escape the ground and cause crop circles to form. But this theory does line up with the beliefs surrounding the Warminster Triangle and the
I barely
phenomena
made that.
surrounding the Avebury Circle. So, I believe it now. To speak more on the energy lines, they actually relate to another
Aw.
theory for crop circles called the plasma
He has a crush
vortex
on that
theory, which
girl.
states that the crop circles found around the globe are caused by spinning vortexes of microwave energy. You see, the ley lines have bursts of energy that bubble up from beneath the surface of the Earth and cause crop circles to form. At least that's the theory. But what about pre-existing energy on the surface? Okay, guys, that's where plasma vortices come into play. All right, the plasma vortice theory, in my opinion, is the most interesting one. It's very, very strange because a lot of these crop circles, some of them
La
could
la.
be explained or redone by
Tell me what. You ask.
Some of them couldn't be explained or redone by humans. There's a little bit of detail into this. I might make a video specifically about this part, but in my opinion, this is the most compelling part of this entire crop circle thing. The plasma vortice theory, the microwave energy theory, that these things are being caused by energy and not people. It's really interesting. This theory was started by a man named W.C. Levengood. He studied biophysics at the University of Michigan, and when studying crop circles, he observed some commonalities found in most circles. The crop cell wall size had grown significantly. The composition of the soil had changed due to whatever caused the crop circle to form. And looking at the plants that were trampled down, he noticed that the parts of the plants that are responsible for germination had completely changed in shape and the method of which seeds are germinated, which is very interesting. The seeds were also altered and affected by the heat produced from these spinning microwave orbs, or whatever the fuck they are. Lastly, and most importantly, there was clear evidence of a brief flash of very intense heat. You see, increased heat can change soil composition, and intense heat can harden clay or dry out a microbiome, remove any moisture in the soil, which changes the pH levels of the soil. So you can tell. And intense heat puts a massive strain on crops, leading them to be less productive. And this would explain why the part of the plant that germinates was altered. The plasma vortex theory doesn't just occur in England, but has been found on the opposite side of the world in Japan. Okay, ever heard of it? It's where anime comes from. While on the ocean, a Tokyo University Ocean Research Institute ship noticed a large object 400 meters across moving quickly north across their radar. The scientists on the boat identified the object as a
Warp is the idea of going into a different dimension plane for faster than light travel, etc. One block of the nether equals B blocks in overworld Minecraft. For however something filled with air usually flies out of water, okay?
plasma vortex and claimed that it was luminescent. But this account reinforces what might potentially be going on in the UK because these vortexes appear to
As I
form
mentioned, when
within the ocean,
time or
which explains
space is
why the
different and when you
southwest
come out at a
England has
different
experienced
point,
the most crop
it's a
circle
different
because
point
it's
in
fully
ours.
exposed to the open ocean, allowing vortexes to form freely, creating crop circles. So at the end of the day, whether whether or not crop circles are scientifically explainable phenomena or supernatural paranormal phenomena, one thing is for sure, they have captured the interest of my brain and many people's over the last centuries. There's been hoaxes, there's been genuine, actual, probably, maybe, most likely not aliens, and plasma vortexes, which is what I like. All right, that's what I like right there. Which theory do you think was your favorite? Anyways, let me know down below, guys. Join the Gump Club to watch uncensored videos. Go to sour.gg. Use code CROPCIRCLE. I will see you all in another video at another time. Thank you all so much.
I chose Rockhurst University because I wanted that smaller school, and I wanted, when I met with the teachers, the professors, I felt like they were being my friends, and they were there for me, not just trying to teach.
Let's see what other stuff we can find. Oh my goodness. I know which one I'm gonna pick.
Imagine I'm an artifact in the Vatican behind hundreds of miles of locked doors. The smallest country on Earth houses the oldest continuously operating institution.
Example
Guards
is in
priceless
media are
treasures
Star
beyond
Wars,
miles of locked doors.
Star
And the area
Trek,
sits upon what was once narrow circus where
Warhammer,
early Christians were
4K,
martyred.
40K.
That's not very funny.
Now when I
Talking
think
the
about it,
Vatican, there's a lot
lots of
theories
shows
and a
use
lot of
warp. They do, even
conspiracies
like
that
Rick and
I've
Morty
been
use
seeing wash
direct
up.
like
And I figured,
portal
you know, the
hopping.
little smoke coming out of the thing. We had a new pope. You know, let's talk about it. Let's talk about some of the craziest stuff that's been going on behind the closed doors of the Vatican. There's a lot of wild stuff, though. It's a beautiful building. Look at it. Wow. I don't know anything about the Vatican. Even if the Vatican harbored no secrets, it would still be an enigma wrapped in a cassock, aka a full-length garment of a single color worn by certain Christian clergy, members of church, choirs, acolytes, and others. What if I was the first YouTuber to wear a cassock for every video? What if I was the first YouTuber to ask publicly if God is supposed to feel like a distant concept or a living presence? What if the ornate walls of the Vatican hide something truly extraordinary? Today we're going to be asking the big questions. We're going to be talking about everything from J.D. Vance to aliens. Not
Embrace the journey, where each moment turns into a cherished memory. Your membership is more than just a card. It's your gateway to extraordinary experiences. With the AAA app, discover savings and hidden gems from dining to travel to hotel stays. Your membership is your companion.
We're going to be talking about everything from J.D. Vance to aliens. Not them, but to aliens. We're going to be talking about aliens, like this guy. This little fella right here, the Holy Relic. Praise be. Just kidding. Do not venerate false idols. All right, I shall begin us with the fact that conspiracies are not exactly a new thing in regard to the Vatican, but things definitely hit an inflection point when Miley Cyrus was on her first Wrecking Ball tour. In February of 2013, Pope Benedict XV1, I think that's 16, shocked the world by announcing his resignation, which was the first voluntary papal resignation in 700 years. Write that down! It was an unprecedented break with tradition that opened floodgates to new theories about what might be going on in the hallowed halls of the Vatican. And that could be surprising, could be not surprising. I'm relatively new to Vatican stuff. I've just recently been looking into it. I don't know a lot about the Vatican. So the 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 billion Catholics out there, go ahead and school me down below. But make sure you watch the ads first. All right? Let's be real, we've all got that one habit that we can't shake. It's the thing you reach for when times are tough, you're bored, boss is being an asshole or whatever. My viewers, you know that I like to keep it 100 emoji. So when I tell you that Fume changed the game for me, you know that I'm not just quite literally reading some script. It said that in the script. Fume is not a vape, it is not an e-cigarette, it has no nicotine or
There we go.
forever chemicals. It is a flavored air device that I genuinely love with a ton of different flavors. It's also a fidget toy. You can go. It's also a thing that feels valuable, it's heavy, it's weighted, it has a cool wooden feature to it. There's no charging, no batteries, and once again, it's just flavored air. It's not an addictive thing. It's a much better alternative to those things. Over 500,000 people have already made the switch with Fume. That's like 5 sold-out stadiums for Creed. They've got any flavor you can imagine, from crisp mint to cinnamon hearts to grapefruit and a bunch of other ones I love. Cinnamon is my new favorite. Right now, you can grab the Journey Pack with code OOMPAVILLE, and they'll throw in the free Fume topper. You can't spell Fume without W's in chat or whatever. Go to the description down below, go to tryfume.com/OOMPAVILLE or scan this QR code today. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you, Fume. Appreciate it.
The Vatican spans 109 acres, houses 825 citizens behind walls, guarded by men in wacky uniforms carrying halberds. It prints its own money, has its own license plates, and maintains diplomatic relations with 183 other countries, despite being smaller than golf courses and like a lot of farms that are right beside me where I live in rural Texas. By the way, there's 195 countries. So having relationships with 183 is having relationships with all the ones that matter, all right? What countries do you not have relationships with, Vatican? Six Flags? Oh, Somalia? That's kind of fucked up. The Vatican archives stretch back 12 centuries, and its bank
Catapult is
operates under
basically a giant
sovereign
glorified
relations.
slingshot that can
Like it
propel
should be legal.
things
Beneath the
mostly
floors of the Vatican, I mentioned
safely
Nero's circus
in a
lies
shorter time than
pre-Christian
traveling at light
necropolis.
speed. But how would you
Ancient Rome.
catapult though?
So many
You have to
old
explain
secrets
how
beneath their feet.
the
It's
catapult
important
would
to note
even
that there's
work.
a difference between the ancient Vatican area and the more modern Vatican City as we know it today, which it dates back to 1929 when the Lateran Treaty between the Holy See and Italy formally established it as a sovereign state. But like we said, 12th century, real old. The ground beneath St. Peter's Basilica was once the site of Emperor Nero's circus, which was a chariot racing stadium. That's sick. And according to tradition, countless Christians were tortured and executed following the Great Fire of Rome in 64 CE, which is very bad and not sick. So all that being said, remember it, put it in your head, use it to paint a backdrop to the conspiracy theories that we're about to flourish in this video. All right, guys? Martyrdom, political patronage, artistic importance,
Media example, Mass
and
Effect,
religious authority,
Love, Death,
and
Robots
also
through
outfits. Now, because I'm an idiot,
Aquila
the first
Night
section we're
TV
gonna be
show.
talking
I'm gonna
about
have to
is
look
the
up
Vatican,
Mass Effect.
shadow government, and banking ties. Oh, God. This one's gonna get me hanging from a bridge with
Plus, in
bricks
Love,
in my
Death,
pocket,
Robots, there's too many
$13,000
episodes, and none of the
various
episodes are the
currencies.
same.
That actually happened. We're going to talk about that. On June 18th, 1982, a London banker spotted something dangling beneath Blackfriars Bridge. It was Roberto Calvin, a chairman of Banco Ambrosiano, dubbed God's banker for his Vatican ties. This man hung from a noose with 5 bricks he stuffed in his pockets and exactly $14,000 in 3 different currencies in his wallet. It was $14,000, not $13,000. I said $13,000 a moment ago. So how the f did a middle-aged bankers not known for their physical prowess, also middle-aged people not known for their physical prowess, hoist himself over a bridge railing with pockets full of bricks? Authorities initially ruled it as suicide, but in combination with the bizarre physical circumstances, there was a bizarre symbolic circumstances. It was the Blackfriars Bridge. Their traditional attire matches that of Dominican priests, and more significantly, his death came precisely as Banco Ambrosiano collapsed, with the Vatican Bank as its main shareholder and $1.3 billion missing through phantom loans to shell companies, most of which were controlled directly by the Vatican's Institute for Works of Religion. Ah, crap. Most of which were controlled directly by the Vatican's Institute for Works of Religion. Ah, crap. Dang it! When forensic investigators finally examined the evidence a decade later, they discovered that Calvi's hands had no brick dust, despite supposedly handling
Ilala
bricks,
Kash.
and his necktie showed no signs of rope fibers that would have been present if he had actually hanged himself. The verdict eventually changed to murder, but the 5 folks that were eventually
Kash.
tried in Rome were all acquitted, despite multiple witnesses placing them with Calvi shortly before his death. So, you know,
No.
I guess take the L, Calvi. I don't think that doesn't seem fair. It seems insanely corrupt. The case connects directly to Propaganda Due, aka P2, which is a Masonic lodge operating as a state within a state in Italy. On March 17, 1981, Italian police raided the villa of P2's worshipful master Lucio Gelli, discovering what investigators would call a shadow government. Membership lists named 962 prominent Italians, including 43 parliamentarians, military generals, intelligence chiefs, and media moguls. And former P2 member Francesco Di Carlo later testified that Calvi was killed because he had taken money from the mafia and the Vatican that was for other purposes.
Like I said, it's a giant slingshot. It could use verified methods
Of course.
to
The
do it.
bricks in the coat thing, I mean,
From
it's just like
magnetism
that
to
option
just
anyway.
throwing really, really hard.
At the center of the web
We
was
just don't know how yet.
Archbishop Paul
Okay,
Marcinkus,
kinda like a rail gun.
6'4" American who ran the Vatican Bank from 1971
But
to
for travel.
1989. America! And when questioned about financial improprieties, Marcinkus infamously
shut up.
declared, "You can't run the church on Hail Marys." I love that, dude. That's a good one. This statement became his epitaph in conspiracy circles, to be honest. That reminds me, join the Gump Club. You can't run the church on Hail Marys. Go to Gump.club to watch behind-the-scenes epic footage and uncensored videos. It's pretty cool. It also supports the channel. Go to Gump.club. Italian prosecutors tried to indict him multiple times, but Marcinkus remained protected within the Vatican walls using his diplomatic immunity to avoid prosecution until his mysterious death in 2006. Mysteriously, he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the back of the head. So that was a lot. We don't know what happened to Shadow Government. A bunch of powerful people get in charge. They have control over a lot of people. The Catholic Church basically and implicitly has control over a lot of people. You just say like, hey, give me a bunch of money, church, you know, so we can keep these artifacts and stuff. We can read this note from Henry VIII. People will give you a lot of money. Ask Catholic Church, kind of like the original YouTube. The original influencer group. In 2013, Pope Francis implemented reforms and closed 5,000 suspicious accounts and established a new level of financial oversight for the church. This next part in regard to the shadow government is very insane, so try your best to keep up, because this was
It's
a lot
gonna
of
be tough.
research and this was confusing to me, but also it makes sense in the end. The Vatican's financial network extends through the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, the SMOM, which is an entity granted sovereignty despite controlling no territory. They're called the Knights, and the Knights maintain diplomatic relations with 112 countries. They issue their own passports and operate diplomatic pouches that cannot be searched or sieged by any government. It is dramatically unusual. No other entity in the world possesses such privileges without controlling actual sovereign territories. This is like the CIA within the CIA. Speaking of the CIA, former CIA operative E. Howard Hunt admitted in his memoir that the Knights of Malta provided perfect cover for intelligence operations. For example, the Knights' diplomatic status was recognized by Iron Curtain countries during the Cold War, and it made them ideal for unofficial couriers. What Hunt didn't mention in his memoir was the order's direct Vatican supervision through the Cardinal Patron, currently Cardinal Silvano Maria Tomasi, who reports directly to the Pope. The new Pope. And according to investigative journalist David Yallop, the Knights function as the Vatican's intelligence arm, with particular focus on financial operations too sensitive for official channels, and their diplomatic immunity allows them to move people, documents, and assets across borders without scrutiny, which creates what intelligence professionals call perfect cutouts for deniable operations. These guys are elite. The Knights of Malta are elite. I had no idea what they were. I've never even heard of them before researching for this video. Even more central to Vatican power
This
is
shit
the
was
Society of
close.
Jesus, aka the Jesuits. Probably heard of them. Their superior general is known as the Black Pope due to his black clerical attire and alleged shadow authority. The Darth Pope. Before becoming Pope Francis, George Bergoglio, our last Pope,
Ilala.
was a Jesuit, the first ever to ascend to the papacy in the order's 450-year history. This fact raised alarm among Vatican observers who understood the significance of merging these previously separate power centers. The Jesuits themselves, their structure mimics intelligence agency structure. They're highly compartmentalized, with members swearing extraordinary oaths of obedience to the cause. Charles Chenequy, once a Catholic priest, published the Jesuits' extreme oath of induction, which includes the pledge, "I will secretly use the poison cup, the strangulation cord, and the steel poniard, or the lead bullet, regardless of honor, rank, dignity, or authority." Now, Catholic authorities do dismiss this oath as a fabrication, that's important to note, but the Jesuits' documented history of political involvement, I would say, speaks for itself. Through their global network of 189 universities and thousands of schools in 112 countries, they shape political and economic thought worldwide. Some graduates of the Jesuits include both Bill Clinton and Fidel Castro, two sides of the same coin, I guess. World Bank presidents are also included in there, and revolutionary leaders. So we have examples of basically every political perspective sharing Jesuit formation. For a long time, and until the early 20th century, the Vatican did have a formal intelligence service called the Entity, or Sodalitium Pianum. The Entity, by the way, crazy name for an intelligence service. It was officially disbanded in 1921, but intelligence experts contend that it didn't vanish, and it just went underground and became even more secretive. Because why would you disband?
Four points.
Dick's Epic 4th of July sale is on. Get 20% off bog bags and igloo coolers. 25% off Stanley drinkware.
Became even more secretive. Because why would you disband that? I mean, let's be real. Especially with all this other information we got. So yeah, consider the implications. They are absolutely staggering. A sovereign entity with no meaningful territory controls a banking system outside international oversight and operates a diplomatic corps with global reach, and maintains a sovereign military order with diplomatic immunity, and commands a religious order with educational institutions worldwide. Plus, they answer to virtually no outside authority. Now, that's pretty crazy, guys. I've got to say, it's pretty crazy. So a lot of the conspiracies, they seem more valid when you look at it from that perspective.
Oh wow,
No offense,
holy
by the way.
crap.
Catholicism, I know a bunch of
Crapola, I don't know
Catholics
if I'm gonna be able to beat 'em.
We're all Christians. But the institution, the nation, right? That's where the problem lies generally in this kind of thing. For example, being an American is really cool. I love America. I love the idea of America. I love the Constitution. I love our founding fathers. I love aspects of the history of this country. I love being an American, and I would never resign. But it's very important to, acknowledge that some people are really evil. And just because they're a part of something you really like a lot doesn't mean they're not. I don't know. What do I know? Nothing. This next section is about the secret archives of the Vatican, which is, the fact that they have secret archives is kind of a misnomer, honestly. I was going to say it's crazy, but it's actually bad, wild, but we'll get into it. It is very wild. I'm just kidding. I'm not very good at making people watch my videos for very long. Sorry. On October 22nd, 2019, Pope Francis announced the Vatican's secret archives would henceforth be known as the Vatican Apostolic Archives. Was the reason? The Latin word secretum originally meant private or personal. These were supposed to be the Pope's personal archives, but in modern languages, the word secret had taken on connotations of hidden or concealed information. Something bad. Secret. It's a secret. I have to know. I have to know your secret. They changed the name to reduce misunderstanding, but like Elon Musk changed the name of Twitter to X, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody's using the name X yet. Well, some bootlickers are, but let's be real, bootlickers can suck it. There is a lot of unabated conspiracy theories in regard to what lurks within the Vatican secret archives. A lot. The archives contain approximately 53 miles of shelving in climate-controlled bunkers, housing documents spanning 12 centuries. Among the confirmed treasures are Henry VIII's letter requesting annulment from Catherine of Aragon in 1530, complete with the signatures of 85 English noblemen, Galileo's trial documents from 1633, and letters from Michelangelo complaining about payment for the Sistine Chapel. Because he's a turtle. Just kidding. He's very talented. He designed all this shit. He made this thing. this famous thing with the fingers touching each other. Famous sculptor, artist, just all around good guy. Most of the archives contain administrative documents, appointments, correspondence, and financial records. Boring nonsense shit. There is theories that there are some more exotic contents. There is a claim, which I love, of this thing called the chronovisor, which exists in the Vatican. It is a device allegedly developed in the 1950s by Father Pellegrino Ernetti, Benedictine monk with advanced musical training and expertise in quantum physics.
Love, Death, and Robots is really good. My favorite episode is Sony's Edge, Super Shifter, and Beyond the Aqualia Rift. I'm gonna have to check those out. Mass Effect is a good game. You could do a playthrough of it. Just make a playlist so people can find it there. I could. I think they have one of the Mass Effects for the Switch too on top of that. So maybe I could do a playthrough. Because I have Mass Effect 3 on the Wii U.
They came up with a TV. Some guy first saw a TV and he's like, you know what? You could probably not only tune into the channel, but also the events of time. Pretty much. Father Ernetti claimed an extraordinary team collaborated on this project, the chronovisor.
Oh, not again. No way we're gonna beat them again. Holy
When you watch the
Coppola.
cavemen, wow, they're so dumb. His father claimed that an extraordinary team collaborated on the project. Nobel Prize winning physicist Enrico Fermi, Fermi paradox, and rocket scientist and Nazi Werner von Braun. Those two fellers, among other scientists that wish to remain anonymous. I wonder if Enrico Fermi and Werner von Braun know they worked on this. According to Ernetti, the team successfully witnessed numerous historical events, including that time I pitched a no-hitter in Little League. Just kidding. They watched Christ's crucifixion, allegedly, in Napoleon's court, and they witnessed a lost tragedy by Roman writer Quintus Ennius from 169 BCE. Very specific. Thank you, Father Ernetti. Now, this seems so insane and so absurd, but the chronovisor story gains some significance and credibility because Ernetti is not just a moth priest. I mean, he's not just an ordinary monk. He taught quantum physics at the University of Venice and served as an exorcist and was a world-renowned authority on archaic music. So the guy had a bit of a pedigree, okay? The first public story of the chronovisor broke in an Italian newspaper in 1972 when Ernetti produced what he claimed was a photograph of Christ on the cross and text of the lost Laestes tragedy, one we mentioned earlier. All evidence directly captured from the chronovisor. I'm starting to believe this now.
We almost have enough points. We almost have enough points.
That's a picture. That's not actually a picture of the chronovisor. I can't really tell what's real and what's not real anymore because of AI stuff. But if you research it, there's a lot of images that are sort of unsettling, strange. Like this, for example, I think this is supposed to be Jesus. I'm sure. This is the Italian news story revealing the chronovisor with Ernetti and a picture of Christ. This is apparently a picture of Jesus Christ. It's in black and white. It's old. A lot of things that are in black and white and old are true. Now, we've established the Vatican does have a history of responding to things and ridiculous claims. So what did the Vatican say to this? In a fairly compelling manner, the Vatican did not dismiss the claims outright, nor did they deny denial. They just remained silent. They didn't say anything. But in a deathbed confession in 1994, Ernetti reportedly admitted the photograph was fake, but maintained the machine's existence. Come on, man. Why would you lie and admit that on your deathbed? Because you're trying to get into heaven, right? Oh, yeah, that's a bad one. All right, that'd be a really bad one. You'd be like TMZ up there. But we also have to say, for the sake of the conspiracy theorists out there, that this partial confession came after Ernetti was hospitalized in a Vatican-controlled facility, which could potentially suggest coercion, all right? And he did recant the photo, but not the ancient text that he recovered, or whatever the Vatican has never officially denied the chronovisor's existence, and that makes it one of the most interesting, curious, compelling things in regard to all. You could just say, no, it's not real. Of course it's not real. TV, you can turn into electromagnetic. What the Come on, make me a Vatican spokesperson. People already think I'm like a CIA asset or a Vatican spokesperson. They already think that I'm a, what is it called? An, psyop? Or a, plant? I want all this stuff to be real. I literally, you have no idea. Now, a more grounded theory, but also absolutely wild, suggests the archives contain evidence that Jesus married Mary Magdalene and had children, which is a claim that was popularized by Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code. That claim originated in a book from 1982 called The Holy Blood and Holy Grail. According to this theory, Jesus had kids with Mary, and those kids fled to France and integrated with the ruling class there. Now, that information is important and relevant because in 2001, Barbara Frail, a paleographer, found the Chinon parchment. I don't know if that's how you say it. Chinon parchment? I don't know. It was a long-lost document showing Pope Clement V secretly absolving the Knights Templar of heresy charges in 1308, which is crazy because if you're the Pope, you're like the main guy just below the other people who are more spiritual and don't exist physically, and you're absolving the Knights Templar in 1308, who are the keepers of the secret that invalidate everything you allegedly stand for. That's kind of weird. And even absolving the Knights Templar in general, they deny Christ. That's like one of the reasons that they were called heretics in the first place. Plus inappropriate carnal relations and obscene kissing of the priest. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. A little more grounded than the chronovisor, to be honest. A lot of people also don't know that you can just request information, of course, if you're a qualified scholar, from the secret archives, the apostolic archives. 20,000 requests are granted annually, and you can just kind of get stuff. So it's pretty cool. I've been big into aliens lately, and as you can tell, I have a lot of alien trinkets on my desk. Big trinket guy. Big trinket guy, couple of trinkets here and there. Of all the Vatican secrets, none are quite as captivating to my imagination, quite like the alleged knowledge of extraterrestrial beings and possible communication. There's an evidence trail. All right, guys, there's a real-life evidence trail. There is. There is! Stop saying there's not! You see, the Vatican maintains the world's oldest astronomical research institution and owns one of the world's largest meteorite collections, which is cool. And they have made a series of statements about alien life that are curiously specific, I would say, for an organization with no confirmed contact and just, a religious organization. It's kind of odd that they're talking about aliens so much. In 2008, the Vatican's chief astronomer, Jose Gabriel Funes, published an article with the provocative title, "The Extraterrestrial is My Brother." This guy wrote in this official newspaper that extraterrestrials might be free from original sin, which I feel like might be blasphemous, okay? He also wrote that extraterrestrials are part of God's original creation and cannot be excluded from tithings, I think. That's what he meant. 2 years after this, Brother Guy Consolmagno, curator of the Vatican's extensive meteorite collection and future director of the Vatican Observatory, told The Guardian that he would baptize an alien if it asked, and then added, any entity, no matter how many tentacles it has a soul. You've been watching the same shit I've been watching that coming out of Japan. That is not true. Those things are soulless. Also, let's hold for a second. Can I become the curator of the Vatican's meteorite collection? Just being that guy. It's like the coolest job title I've ever seen or heard in my life. What do? You got a pretty cool suit on. Your suit's pretty cool already. Well, actually, I'm the curator of the meteorite collection at the Vatican. So it seems odd that such a legitimate and long-standing institution, a Catholic religious institution, would give credence to such hypothetical things like aliens. It seems bizarre. Some people theorize that these statements serve to gradually acclimate the public to a reality the Vatican has known about for a long time. For example, the Crystal Skull, deep in the Vatican's basement. I've seen it. I've seen it in my visions. I've been remote viewing down there. Now let us get to the case of Monsignor Corrado Balducci. It provides even more compelling evidence in regard to what I'm talking about. As an official demonologist for the Vatican and a member of the Roman Curia, Balducci wasn't just a fringe figure. From 1995 to 2000, he made a series of unprecedented television appearances on Italian networks, stating categorically that extraterrestrial contact was real and not demonic. On Domenica Inn, which is Italy's highest-rated Sunday program, he declared, "We must begin to prepare ourselves for the possibility of this encounter! They are not demonic! They are not due to psychological impairment. They are not a case of enemy attachment. But these encounters deserve to be studied carefully. Here's our source, by the way, if you want to check out this website. Look at this. Pretty good looking website, isn't it? I really like using websites like this as sources. Lest we forget this from UFO Digest. Vatican official declares extraterrestrial contact is real, all caps. So yeah, take it or leave it, basically. Vatican insiders have also whispered that Balducci was part of a controlled disclosure program that was initiated after a secret meeting between Pope John the 23rd and representatives of an extraterrestrial civilization in 1961 at Castel Gandolfo. Now, these Vatican insiders that whispered this, I heard them. Just kidding. There is no official documentation of these meetings that exist in public records. It is Vatican employees that have anonymously claimed that a specific section of the papal summer residence remains off limits to all but the highest ranking church officials, so they can do that thing that they did in Men in Black, where he reaches out and he touches the alien and they shake hands. And then Will Smith comes in and he's got new blood and he's got all this new energy and he uproots the Men in Black and reorients them towards the future. He makes them cool. He makes them cool. The Vatican, Balducci, that's Will Smith. These are real theories, by the way. This is mind-boggling. You've probably heard of David Grush if you're into the alien stuff, and he made an even more provocative testimony provided by him. He's a former U.S. intelligence official. Grush testified in 2023 to Congress under oath and claimed that in 1933, during Mussolini's regime, a non-human craft crashed near Magenta, Italy, which is here on a map, right there. It's right there. The Magenta's up here, and then the Vatican City is just outside of Rome, down here, all right? And Bosnia and Herzegovina is over here, and Slovenia is here, and Serbia is here, and Montenegro is here, and Dubrovnik is here.
Nice, 2,000
Shout out
points.
to all my
Nice.
homies in Dubrovnik. Also, according to Grush, Pope Pius XII personally negotiated the transfer.
You
of
should get the
recovered
Legendary
materials to
Edition.
America's
It's on
Office of
Xbox
Strategic
One and
Services,
PS4,
precursor
PS5.
to
I
the
recommend
CIA,
getting the
OSS,
originals if you have a 360. I do have a 360, bro. Maybe we can get the original, set up the 360 and play it straight off my 360. I don't think I have a 360 controller, but I have a
In regard
360.
to extraterrestrial matters, that all continues into this day. So the Vatican is working
But
with
the Switch
United States of
version's gotta be
America
as good as the 360 version,
on ET stuff, you know?
if there is
Sounds
one.
good. Now, if you're wondering what the Vatican said in retort to Grush, I don't know how to say his name, Grusk's claims, Vatican Archives Secretary Marco Grilli publicly denied knowledge of this Mussolini-era incident. But we have to denote that Grilli specifically denied knowledge of where Grush got this information from, not that the information itself was fake. Yes! Yes! That's like White House shit. That's White House shit right there, dude. That means it's real. It's a matter of semantics. Yeah, well, you didn't say it's not real. You just said, I don't know where he heard that from. Bullshit. I don't think you said it's bullshit, but it would have been funny if you didn't. One thing that's kind of cool as well is this type of careful denial appears frequently not only for the White House, but also in Vatican statements in regard to extraterrestrial matters. Press like. The Vatican also has astronomical facilities for some reason, and the sheer fact that also raises a couple eyebrows,
Shit.
in my opinion. Right?
Shit.
Professional Vatican.
This guy's strong. Shit.
The Vatican has the
I was ready to throw away my favorite shirt until a friend told me about this. I've tried every other stain remover out there, and this one is the only one that actually worked. Tide Launder Stain Remover with Oxy is a game changer. It removes stains like blood, coffee, raspberries, and so much more. Simply spray directly on the stain, rub it in, wait a few minutes, either scrub away the stain, or you can wash it with one of your favorite detergents. The results speak for themselves. The stains are gone, and my clothing looks as good as new. Plus, it's safe to use on bedding, upholstery, and carpets, making it my go-to stain remover for my entire home. Make sure you pick this up on your next trip to Walmart. It's a must-have.
Oh, I fucked up.
Vatican has the VATT, Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope. Terrible name. Besides it just being weird that they have an astronomical facility, one of them, that they have the Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope, VAT, sits perched atop Mount Graham in Arizona, which was a location that was sacred to the Apache people who fought the construction of that for years through litigation. They didn't want them to build it there, but they really wanted to build it there. That location was so vital that the Vatican lobbied Congress to pass the 1988 Arizona-Idaho Conservation Act, which specifically exempted the project from environmental and cultural protection laws that would have applied to any other organization. What the The rules do not apply to us. This culture does not matter. We're building a big telescope. It's gonna be so big, and we're gonna look really far.
All right,
We're gonna look at aliens. We're gonna look at what the
he's hard as fuck.
Japan folks tend to.
Portals are essentially just doors, but instead of going
Engineers
to another room, you could go anywhere through the portal. I agree. Media examples are Stargate.
Senior astronomers cannot access. So
I've heard of Stargate, I just didn't like it. Warhammer. Rick and Morty, bro. Rick and Morty has portals out the ass.
This controversy went through a bit of an intensification period when the nearby University of Arizona.
And now you know why I'm saving like consistently, because this game is fucking hard.
Instrument with the bizarre acronym Lucifer. A large binocular telescope here for red spectroscopic utility with camera and integral field unit for extragalactic research. We have to be fair. This was not officially part of the Vatican telescope, and after public outcry, it was renamed Lucifer. It is a long acronym, Lucifer. Whatever I just read off. But obviously, insiders whispered that the Vatican partially funded its development through third-party foundations. And I wouldn't be surprised. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if anything was true. You could tell me that Sofia in Bulgaria isn't even a real city, and I'd be like, my Balkan brothers have been lying to me this entire time? Of course they have. They're Balkan. Oh, so am I! Good show! Imagine I just snapped my bicep while recording a Pope conspiracy video. Beyond just astronomy and the interest of aliens relegated to looking at them, spying on them from really
How do
far
I even
away,
get
the
there?
Pontifical Academy of Sciences hosted an unprecedented conference on astrobiology, which brought together scientists from NASA, the European Space Agency, and other prominent universities, other places where there's smart people. But leaked documents suggest participants discussed not just theoretical and hypothetical scenarios, but specific protocols for confirming and announcing the discovery of extraterrestrial intelligence, which, maybe they just watched Independence Day, like me. Maybe they just watched Signs, like me as well. I'm really into aliens, hoping they'll come get. A peculiar statement by Jesuit astronomer Father Jose Funes following the conference was peculiar, all right? When he was asked if the church was preparing for disclosure of alien contact, he responded by saying, yes. He said the discovery of intelligent life does not mean there's another Jesus somewhere in the universe, which I'm going to be real, Jesuit astronomer, that's a weird thing to say. Someone who's like, hey man, is there aliens around? And you're just like, there's no other Jesuses. All right, not anywhere else in the universe. So that concludes the extraterrestrial part of these papal conspiracies. Now, I've got to say, this is potentially the most viral Vatican conspiracy theory. This is a conspiracy dating just literally a couple weeks ago. It erupted after Pope Francis died one day after meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance at the Vatican. He sees the memes. He sees the memes of people making fun of him. He's seen these memes and this is just not good for his mental health.
I can't believe he still doesn't have enough points.
Visit and the memes of him being a Daedra. Portraying him as the judge in Blood Meridian. Obviously not real at all, but it's funny. People are suggesting that he is literally the Antichrist. Vatican photographs documented the April 20th encounter in 2025 meeting in Casa Santa Marta. The Vatican press office described the meeting between JD and the Pope as brief, and it was an opportunity to exchange Easter greetings. Pope Francis died the next day. During the first day, he appeared physically ill during the meeting. These circumstances have created the ultimate meme this disrespectful thing. All right, it's I gotta say, it's some of it's very funny, but it's also very disrespectful. I'm not a Catholic, just so you guys know. But I have respect for every single religion, except for what's one that I can say I don't have any respect for? Shrews. Let's just say shrews. I don't have any respect for shrews. I like them. They're interesting creatures, but their religion's never really appealed to me. So, Pope Francis had initially declined meeting with fans during his visit to Rome, but then suddenly decided to agree to a brief meeting, which is bizarre. The theory then spread. Because, like, I don't want to meet with you. And he meets you, and then he dies. It's dark humor. The J.D. Vance conspiracy is very interesting because it connects to a long American history of anti-Catholic sentiment. I'm not a Catholic. I have respect for Catholics. I know a lot of them that are extremely cool. Do I think some of the stuff is really bizarre? Yeah, of course. But I think some of the stuff is really bizarre in every single religion. Of course. All right, brother? If you don't grow up with it, if you're not just, like, fed into it, if you're learning it as an adult, there's a lot of bizarreness that comes from just across the board. But there is an American anti-Catholic sentiment that I've experienced. A lot of people burned by the church as children, and then they're just vehemently against it as they grow up. A fellow by the name of Arthur M. Schlesinger Sr. once described anti-Catholicism in America as the deepest bias in the history of the American people, which I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that one, but another historian by the name of John Higham called it the most luxuriant, tenacious tradition of paranoid agitation in American history, which is the anti-Catholic movement. There was actually an anti-Catholic movement called the No
Oh wow,
Nothing
holy
movement of the
shit,
1950s
okay.
that was anti-Catholic, and opponents of Al Smith in 1928 or of JFK in 1960, they claimed that either one of these men would take orders from the Pope if elected president, which is just not true. That didn't happen. The point is that these suspicions of Catholicism have deep roots in American culture. And there is a nice level of irony that I really enjoy from the Vance conspiracy and has been embraced by both political extremes for entirely different reasons. Progressive critics share it to highlight the perceived hypocrisy in Vance's religious positioning, because he got called out by the Pope by claiming things, and then the Pope denies, and then he dies. Oh! What we for sure know about it is that there is a complex relationship that the public have with the Catholic Church, especially J.D. Vance, his relationship with the church. Yeah. I would say so.
Oh, I fucked up.
But at the end of the day, I do have respect for people's beliefs in religion, obviously. There are some Vatican conspiracy theories that transcend beyond what even makes sense, and they enter the realm of the truly bizarre. We've spoken about a lot of them, but one of them isn't even a conspiracy theory at all. It's not a theory, it is documented history. In January 897, Pope Stephen VI ordered the corpse of his predecessor, Pope Thomasius, to be exhumed 9 months after burial. The decomposing body was dressed in papal vestments, propped up on a throne in the Lateran Palace, and put on trial for perjury and violating canon law. Then a deacon answered on the dead pope's behalf as Stephen VI railed against the corpse. Not physically railed him or whatever, but, you know, he harangued him. The event called the Cadaver Synod ended with Formosus convicted, and the 3 fingers he had used for blessings were cut off and his papal vestments stripped, and his naked remains were thrown into the Tiber River. Then, let's talk about something crazy. The reptilian pope. It is laughable at first glance, I have to admit, but it has attracted surprising attention. The theories were popularized by British researcher David Icke.
Those are the worst things to
I've
fight.
talked about him on the channel before. This is the claim that world leaders, including popes, are actually reptilian extraterrestrials capable of changing form, and according to Icke's sources, these beings originated from the Alpha Draconis star system and have infiltrated Earth's power structures for thousands of years. Hold on a second. What? Yeah, what's the evidence? How about this? Believers of the Pope is a reptile conspiracy point to specific video footage from Pope Benedict, or whatever the a 2012 Christmas address where his eyes appear to change to vertical slits for a split second. And another clip from 2010, a legend shows unusual skin patterns forming on his hands under certain lighting. Most people would say that this is a compression.
Teleporters are the same as portals because usually you need to go to one place first and build a teleporter. Portal and then turn the mass energy, send the energy to the receiver. Well, I think teleporters are different from portals. Because portals, you just jump through the portal from point A to point B. A teleporter is like taking you apart completely, turning you into like data or turning you into energy, and then transferring you to another point and rebuilding you completely.
I don't know, the Pope's Audience Hall, designed by architect Piero Luigi Nervi, and in 1971 has also distinctively serpentine appearance when observed from above. It looks like a snake's head and snakes and stuff. I don't know. Snakes. I mean, I love snakes. I actually like snakes. I have one as a hat band.
Star Trek.
Most elaborately is the
Yes, but like a teleporter is not a portal, you know, because it's like deconstructing you and then putting you back together.
on this at some point in the future a full video, but in this theory conspiracy, in regard to this, places the Vatican at the center of a plan to implement a new world order. According to a Canadian journalist by the name of
Also, I
Serge
think Star
Monod,
Trek kind of
who died
sucks.
mysteriously in 1996
Except for the
after
movies.
publishing his findings. This plan has 4 stages. Engineered archaeological discoveries,
You could say that
undermining
portals are
crystal
instants in the sense that you just
HCHO,
walk through it and you're
advanced
from
holographic
in that
technology
right doesn't take you know
simulating
from
second
point A to
coming
point
or
B.
alien arrival. Then direct communication through low frequency waves.
But you're not being deconstructed in the process. A teleporter, you're being deconstructed and then transferred from point A to point B and then rebuilt.
Believers cite the Vatican's Advanced Technology Telescope and the Vatican's interest in extraterrestrial life as preparation for their role in its deception. They point to unusual sky phenomena documented worldwide as test runs of this holographic technology. For example, all the orbs in Shannon, New Jersey. I mean, it's really wild. And when Pope Francis became the first pope to ever address Congress, and this in 2015, conspiracy theorists and blue beam proponents.
From your personal experience teleporting, how many times have you teleported before? Give us the deeds, give us the tea, spill the
It
tea.
seems like things haven't really sped up that much. I was kind of expecting more, but I don't know. It's fun to believe. And yeah, there's a bunch of tunnels as well, but it's Vatican. It's epic. Really cool. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, press the like button down below. Join the Dump Club for behind-the-scenes footage. And always, go to sour.gg and buy some candy. This is our new Sourwood strip flavor of the month. It's called Mystery Concoction. We don't actually know what's in it. It's cool. But we don't really care. It's a licorice style candy that is in the form of a sour strip. They're amazing. They're really good. They have less sugar than our competitors. It's not a low sugar. It is still a full sugar candy, but the way that we make it is just more old school. It doesn't have as much sugar. It honestly doesn't last as long. Shelf life isn't as long as regular candy, but it is much higher quality and better, and it's made by Big news! Welcome
It's
back
so
to
hard to
the
fight
Relevant
these
Report.
guys.
Big news! Katy Perry went to space, allegedly!
They were overwhelmed by what they saw.
Oh, the moon! It's nice! I love the moon! Look at the moon! It seems fake as to me, but for whatever reason, NASA seems to be low on funding. Kids of this generation don't look up at the sky, and every time we do, we see UFOs, and then we're told, those aren't UFOs, that's Starlink, or SpaceX decoupling, or whatever.
To both deconstruct your portals are weird and teleporters are wireless. No, a portal doesn't deconstruct you. You're just stepping from one space to
If you
another.
haven't heard, Jeff Bezos has a space agency called Blue Origin, and they sent Katy Perry to space to do the first ever song in space. That's a real tweet that is out there talking about it, but guys, don't worry. Don't worry. This is so dumb.
The best part was when we got back in our seats after Zero G's. Katie said, "What a wonderful world."
She did. That's nice.
Have you ever seen Space Oddity? David Bowie, they did it in space. Chris Hadfield, or the guy. This is ground control to make them. They did that in space already, so shut the fuck up, Katy Perry. You suck. You're a trashy skin. Yeah, this is so dumb. It's obviously fake. It looks, I don't know. Actually, I'm not going to pretend like I know if it's fake. The whole mannequin thing, there's like the mannequin arm in the window, and then the door only being able to open from the inside, but then the first thing you do is open it.
Here goes Jeff Bezos to open the hatch.
Uh-oh.
But it also
Wasn't
could just
expecting
be the
this.
likelihood that, it's fake because of the publicity op. I'm the type of person that believes Stanley Kubrick did create the moon landing footage, but we also went to space. That's the type of guy that I'm. We also went to the moon, but the footage is fake. That's the type of guy that I am. Because it looked rough, too. When you see when it hit, it's like, I can just imagine my Kerbal just ragdolling inside that capsule or whatever. But yeah, you might be asking, why was Katy Perry on this? I don't know. I'm not really sure. She hasn't been relevant in quite a while, I think. Is she still doing a thing? I don't know if she still does a thing. Probably she still does. She's very talented, very cool. I think. I'm not sure. I just don't want to offend her. All the stuff I said earlier. Why was she on the flight? Her purpose on the flight was not to just be the first artist in space, but it was also a group of influential artists that were with her. Apparently, on board were Katy Perry, one of the best-selling pop star people of all time. Gayle King, co-host of the TV show CBS Mornings. Former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, the founder and CEO of the technology company Stemboard, and filmmaker Carrie Ann Flynn. And then some other person, bioastronautics researcher, author, and Nobel Peace Prize nominee Amanda Nguyen, who became the first Vietnamese. Shouldn't have been joking about that. I was doing a joke as if she was the worst one in space, being sarcastic, but in reality, her achievements are far more impressive than the achievements of the other caddy who went up. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm going crazy right now. I'm sorry. It seemed fun. It also seemed really fake to me, though, as well. I don't know. Do you guys think it was fake? It seemed extremely fake. There's also a journalist and author, Lauren Sanchez, who is Jeff Bezos' fiance. So every chance I can do a Jeff Bezos laugh, I take that chance and I do it. I hit him with a Jeff Bezos laugh. These folks were hitting a bunch at first, but in general, people were like, what was the point? So people started to dig into the whole ordeal, stating that spending thousands of dollars to be in space for less than 10 minutes is a complete waste of time and resources. I would say, as a counterpoint, that sounds like jealousy from a bunch of brokies, it seems like. I'd say. I mean, to be honest. What's my point of view? Fake and dumb. That's what I think it was. I think it was all fake and it was all dumb. These people aren't even real. These people aren't even real. They're as real as your Mii's from the Wii. There's like little characters you can make. They're as real as that. You'll never see them, you'll never meet them in real life, which means they might as well not even be real. Now on to the best part, conspiracy theories. My favorite part of all this. According to some conspiracy theorists, they never left the ground. If you watch through the live stream and you decide to ask some questions, you can have some pretty interesting ones. On their re-entry, there is no video of them inside the capsule. So were they ever really there? I don't know. Could be a wild LED screen like the one that they used to film The Mandalorian. That looks as real as the re-entry, or the not re-entry. Did they even re-enter? They were in outer atmosphere? I don't know. I'm not a space guy. There's other theories. One, for example, is that they were on a movie set where they floated around with invisible wires. One of the questions that is pretty hilarious is the obvious scripted performance being ruined by one of the astronauts opening the capsule from the inside before being told to shut it by Jeff Bezos.
This is an eclectic group of women representing so many different careers that they've led. Oh, the door is opening now. So hopefully soon they will find their feet, literally.
That's the most obvious question. And then beyond that, another very obvious question is, were these people on drugs? Because they're aggravating. Footage of them, the way they were acting in the capsule, in an outer atmosphere, very bizarre behavior. They were tripping on fence. Those perks must have been laced.
I got you. I got you, Flynn.
Especially Katie, she was acting real odd.
Curious about that skincare treatment everyone's been talking about.
Wonder what's going on with your pet's health and how to keep them happy.
I'm Erin, and this is Care Experts, the podcast that brings you face-to-face with professionals who know the health and wellness tips you've been excited to hear.
And I'm Antonio. I'll be chatting with pet experts about your beloved pets.
Each week, we're sitting down with top experts who give you the real deal on treatments and procedures.
From understanding new veterinary options to simple care tips that really make a difference. We're getting answers from people who know their stuff.
This season is chock full of brand new moments you're sure to love.
So, subscribe to Care Experts now, your weekly dose of insider knowledge brought to you by Care Credit.
Damn, bro, he's hard. He is super hard to beat. Photos after this connect you or deconstruct you so you can go anything with a mass. Well, no, it doesn't. Just think about Rick and Morty portals. He just shoots a portal, the portal gun opens up a spot, and they literally just jump right through it. There's no reconstructing going on.
Especially Katie, she was acting real odd. She's a little flower, and she's like, I'm an alien, It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's very 2010, cringe, and stupid. I don't know. Katy Perry described her trip to the outer atmosphere and that it made her feel super connected to love. Those are her actual words, she said. Did Jeff Bezos serve them more than just shiitakes? When going up, my friends?
I feel super connected to love. So connected to love. I think this experience has shown me you never know how much love is inside of you, like how much love you have to give.
I mean, what do you think went on in that thing? Also, people calling them astronauts are stupid. They're not astronauts. They were in outer atmosphere for like 40 seconds. It's tourism. I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's dumb. Let's bring them back down. So yeah, you can see them free falling and stuff, and it looks pretty real, but all this stuff looks real. I do believe the ISS, I think we go to space, by the way, just to make it super clear. I believe we can escape the firmament. Just kidding. I had my fingers crossed. Stab, stab, twist, exit wound, entry wound, twist, exit wound, stab, twist. Press like. Go to sour.gg, buy some candy. I'm not a rocket scientist, but I do have this ancient holy relic, and I think that shit was dumb as and I don't think any of that should ever be celebrated. I don't like Jeff Bezos, he freaks me out. I don't like Dr. Evil, he freaks me out, even though I know it's not real. And I think that we should put smart people like that, the third person in space. I only remember Katy Perry, the third woman, the astronautic physicist. I think smart people need more airtime. That's why I will be doing... not gonna do anything to make the smart people get more airtime. Now to news that's actually really interesting. The Oblivion Remaster! Todd. I love Bethesda video games. I love Todd Howard. Check this out. You know what I told myself last month when I slipped my disc and hurt myself really badly? It'll just go away. I probably just maybe did a backflip here. At least my posture has improved. Look at that. It's called the golden ratio. Everybody eventually gets hurt, and everybody eventually needs to see a medical professional. Booking a doctor appointment can feel like a full-time job, especially when you go down the Google rabbit hole. 10 minutes later, you'll think you're a darn nerdling, from Warhammer. That's where today's sponsor, ZocDoc, comes in. ZocDoc makes this entire process stupid simple. It's a free app and website where you can search for in-network doctors, you can read verified reviews from actual patients, and book appointments instantly. No voicemails, no phone tag, no cringe. They've got over 100,000 doctors across every specialty, primary care physicians, dental, urgent care, you name it, they got it. You can filter by insurance, location, or even by availability. And some appointments happen within 24 to 72 hours, some even same day. I use ZocDoc, and you should too. Stop putting off those appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Opaville to instantly book a top-rated doctor work. That is ZocDoc.com/Opaville. Go there. Link in the description. Thank you, ZocDoc, for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for watching. We got Todd over there in the corner. I'll have him on the show before he dies. Old age, I'm sure. Natural causes. I gotta put out my own game first. I'm working on a video game right now. Not the one I was working on. That one I'm still working on, but I'm working on that one on the weekends. I'm working on a different one. Right now, I'm like a divorced father, splitting time between my kids. Anyways, Oblivion's getting remastered. That makes me really excited. I love Oblivion. That was the only game I think I've come the closest to 100%ing. Stop! I want to say I got every achievement. I think I gained an obscene amount of gamer score. The year that came out, I had like 30-some K. After Oblivion came out, was a lot. That was a shit ton, and I was a little boy when that shit happened. I think the remaster looks good. A lot of people are complaining that it doesn't have as much color. It's not as vibrant as the other, but to me, it looks like the gates of Oblivion are opening. And it's got this kind of fantastical...
The portal's a door wall of energy,
type thing.
connecting a place that converts mass to energy, and vice versa instantly. That's why it doesn't look like it's connecting it isn't deconstructing, deconstructing.
does this happen? Supposedly the story goes.
I don't know,
On
man.
April
Seems like you're
15th,
trying to
Virtuos
sell me
website
something, and I'm not
showed
buying it.
Screenshots of the upcoming remaster for Oblivion. This leak had screenshots side by side, which I assume was for advertising reasons to show before and after. The website also included screenshots for a deluxe edition and more, relaunching that shit in the deluxe edition. Here are the screenshots. I think this looks really good. I'm very excited. I love Elder Scrolls, and I will support everything they make, everything Bethesda makes from now on, even if it's terrible like Starfield. And Fallout 76. Fallout 76, though, is good now. Just give them 7 years, and they'll turn that shit around. Tragically, this has come at the worst time ever, even though I'm excited for it. There is a giant project that's been going on for years called Skyblivion, which seems to probably it's going to get reamed by this a little bit. It is a project on the Creation Engine, which is the engine that has been used since like the 17th century to make Elder Scrolls games. Folks has taken the assets from Oblivion and putting them into the updated Creation Engine that was released for Skyrim.
Today, we would like to give you a glance into the progress we have made in quests as we approach our 2025 season. In this video, we shall be putting 2 side quests, on the mountain and killing fields. While progress has been steady, we are always looking for more volunteers. Help us finish the project and get it into your hands as soon as possible.
It is also a beautiful project that a lot of volunteers have been working for a very long time on. They've documented every step of the way. It's insanely impressive. Tragically, they're almost done. They estimate the finished creation will be done in 2025, so I don't know. Hopefully there are enough fans of Skyblivion that will play it, which it isn't really a game that's like published or whatever, so it's a fan passion project. So I don't think it's going to have too negative of an impact, but I think real fans would be excited for the remaster and Skyblivion. I'm excited for both of them. I just hope they don't get sued for copyright infringement. That's always really lame whenever that happens, but yeah, they might get overshadowed. But yeah, if you don't know what that is, it is the Skyrim engine with the assets of Oblivion and the storyline of Oblivion, which is a lot of work. They rebuilt the game. Fans rebuilt a whole game, which is insanely impressive. As excited as I am for the remaster, and as ready as I am to be let down for the 100th time again by Bethesda Game Studios, very sad. In the end, whatever happens, the passionate developers behind Skyblivion will not be fucked. If y'all need me help code, let me know. Is Creation Engine in C#? Because I can help with that. I'm really good. I'm really good. I promise. The news is really dry and lame this week. Lil Nas X posted a video about half of his face being paralyzed. Almost every news station and media outlet is covering it somehow.
Lil Nas X in the hospital with a paralyzed face.
Usually whenever Lil Nas X is in the news, it's because he's evil and he's got a gay satanic agenda. According to Eha Romano, I'm not really sure. It just seems like he's LARPing. Like just because you do that, if I were to I could take a pair of Nikes, put 666 on it, fill it with common blood, and then say I love Satan and I'm gay, and it still wouldn't mean to me anything really. Like you can just do stuff, for aesthetic reasons, right? You can just do stuff.
I'm getting tired because they're whipping my ass.
A gay satanic agenda. I have no idea what's going on. I mean, I have this. This is a hand that's chopped off.
Must be getting tired because they're
Is this
whipping my
evil
ass.
Maybe it's time to think twice about who you're watching. The content you're consuming in your brain. You're an adult. Shut the fuck up. Turn the phone off. Reels are worse than all that shit. But for real, don't let your kids watch any television or the internet or do anything at all without your supervision, please, for the love of God and all things holy. So yeah, we don't know exactly what's wrong with Lil Nas X's faces, and quite frankly, we don't really give a okay, guys. We don't really care. He's probably Bell's palsy. That's when one of your face sides just goes, and then then it comes back sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. A lot of people fully recover between a few weeks, 6 to 8 months. I've seen people where their kind of face just looks, maybe they smile and it's normal. They smile and it's normal on one side, it's just like dead on the other. Lil Nas X himself isn't that worried. He said, "Shake some ass for me." I don't really know. That's the classic response to people, showing support and sympathy to your new medical condition. Hey man, shake some ass for me, brother. Shake some ass for me, guys. This has happened to a lot of people, by the way. Angelina Jolie, George Clooney, Pierce Brosnan, Terrence Howard, Katie Holmes, Jim Ross, Justin Bieber, and more. Me. In 2025, I will be hit with Bell's palsy. One side of my face will sag. I mean, it's a prophecy. It's going to come true, and I probably will pass before the 12th month of the year. Look up the meaning of that in numerology. Look up the meaning of Sour Boys in numerology and tell me I don't have my own gay satanic agenda. Go to sour.gg, buy some candy. I don't have any of that stuff. I'm just kidding. Now, another season of The Last of Us has come out. My wife and I have been watching Game of Thrones for the 7th time in the last 2 years, and when it's done, we're going to rewatch all of Last of Us.
Okay.
I didn't make it past the
I'm getting sleepy, so I'm going to stop the stream for now. I'll be back later.
I love the first season. It's so good. Pedro Pascal, he's incredible. He's one of my favorite